You know, when it comes to cybersecurity, does it ever feel like you're just playing defense, constantly reacting to the next threat? Well, today, we're going to flip that script. We're going to explore the shift from being reactive to becoming truly resilient. And, maybe most importantly, we're going to break down the powerful financial argument for why this is no longer just an option.
All right, let's kick things off with a pretty big question. When you think about cybersecurity, do you see it as just a cost center? You know, one of those necessary evils on the balance sheet? Or could it be something more? A strategic investment that actually protects your capital and gives you a real competitive edge. Let's dig into that.
To really get why this conversation matters so much, we have to talk about the stakes. Just look at this number. We're talking over $4 million. And that's not some worst-case scenario. That's what the studies are showing is the average cost of a single data breach. And that's not just the immediate cleanup bill. That figure includes everything from legal fees and massive fines to the long-term damage to your brand's reputation.
And that staggering number, well, it leads us right into our first big idea here, the high cost of doing nothing. Because let's be real, in today's world, standing still, that's not a neutral choice. It is an active decision, and it comes with a very, very high price tag.
And I want to be super clear here. This cost of inaction, it's not just some fuzzy business school concept. It is a real, measurable liability. We're talking about the kind of stuff you can actually see on a balance sheet. Things like your cyber insurance premiums going through the roof, getting hit with huge regulatory fines, or, and this is a big one, the crippling costs when your business just grinds to a halt because the key system is down.
Okay, so this slide really paints a picture of the operational chaos of just reacting to things. Over here on one side, you've got proactive patching. See? It's all scheduled, it's controlled, the costs are totally predictable. But then you look at the other side, that's emergency patching. And that's just full-on crisis mode, right? It's unplanned, you're shelling out a fortune for emergency consultants, and you're probably dealing with a PR nightmare. The financial gap between these two worlds, it's just massive.
So if reacting to everything is so expensive and chaotic, what's the alternative? What do we do instead? Well, it's all about building what you can think of as a proactive safety net for your entire digital world. And right at the heart of that safety net is something called a vulnerability assessment. Honestly, the best way to wrap your head around this is to think of it like a routine health checkup. I mean, you don't wait until you're having a heart attack to finally go see a doctor, right? You go for checkups. It's the exact same idea. A vulnerability assessment is all about systematically finding and fixing those little security weaknesses before they blow up into a massive problem.
Okay, now this is a big one. People often get this confused with penetration testing, so let's draw a really clear line in the sand. Think of it this way. A vulnerability assessment is broad, it's continuous. Its job is to find all the unlocked doors and open windows in your digital house. A pen test? That's more like hiring a professional to see if they can actually climb through one of those open windows. So for most businesses, the logical and frankly most cost-effective first step is just to find and lock all the windows.
But, and this is crucial, this isn't a one-and-done kind of thing. If you want to build real resilience, this has to be a continuous cycle. It's about creating a system that you can repeat over and over, one that makes you stronger and stronger over time.
And this is pretty much what that cycle looks like. It always kicks off with discovery, because hey, you can't protect what you don't even know you have, right? That includes all that sneaky shadow IT. Then you move to scanning, where you use automated tools to sniff out all the known weaknesses and misconfigurations. After that is analysis. This is where you take all that raw data and turn it into something meaningful, something that speaks to actual business risk. Then you prioritize. You can't fix everything at once, so you focus on what really, truly matters most. And finally, you get to remediation, the part where you actually go and fix the problems. And then the whole cycle starts over again. It's a structured, totally manageable, continuous loop.
So we've talked about the how, but what are these scans actually finding? Let's make these threats feel a bit more real.
So what kind of things pop up? Well, a really classic and incredibly dangerous one is called SQL injection. Okay, imagine your website's login form is like a friendly bank teller. An attacker using SQL injection basically slips a secret, hidden command into what looks like a normal request. The teller gets confused, goes back to the vault, which is your database, and basically hands over all the keys. This can lead to just massive data theft, or even worse, it could let an attacker just waltz right past your main security.
Another really common one you'll see is cross-site scripting, or XSS for short. Think of this one like an attacker leaving a booby-trapped sticky note on a public bulletin board, and that bulletin board is your website. So when an innocent visitor comes along and reads that note, a malicious little script suddenly runs in their browser, and that script can do all sorts of nasty stuff like steal their login info or even hijack their session right then and there. It is incredibly sneaky.
And you know what? Finding and fixing these kinds of issues before an attacker can use them, that's where you get the real financial payoff. This is where being proactive really truly shows its value.
This chart, wow, this really puts the whole financial argument into crystal clear perspective. On the left, you've got this small, predictable bar. That's the annual cost of a good, continuous assessment program. And then on the right, you have this towering, catastrophic bar representing the multi-million-dollar cost of just one breach. The ROI on prevention here, it's not just good, it's absolutely astronomical.
And this right here, this gets to the absolute heart of the matter. We really have to shift our thinking on this. Proactive security isn't just another IT expense, it's capital preservation. It's a fundamental financial strategy for protecting the value and the future of your entire business.
And look, here's a tangible benefit you can walk right into the CFO's office with. Cyber insurers, they're getting so much tougher. They don't just take your word for it anymore. They want to see proof that you have proactive controls in place. So when you can hand them documented proof of your continuous process, showing them that you find risks, you track them, and you fix them, you are proving your organization is defensible. And let me tell you, that is a conversation that leads directly to better insurance policies and lower premiums, period.
You know, this quote really just boils everything down. In the world we live in today, waiting is not a neutral move. It's kind of like letting a debt pile up interest. Except in this case, the interest is risk and exposure, and ultimately, a massive bill. Delay truly is the single most expensive decision you can make.
So all of this leaves us with one last really critical question for you to think about. When the